Welcome to the Newsa-Cast YouTube channel. These Red Smith Banquet throwbacks are exclusive interviews of sports legends, powerful media personalities, and influential coaches. You won't find these anywhere else. Subscribe below and enjoy.
All right, welcome YouTube viewers. We're super happy to have you come and check out another one of the throwbacks to the Red Smith Sports Awards, and we're going to throw back all the way to 2009 and hear legendary basketball coach Gene Keady.
We are going to hear legendary basketball coach Gene Keady. You're right, Tosh. He's going to tell us jokes.
He's going to tell us a lot of jokes, and you're going to understand that that's what he did. That was his speech. And, you know, like I said, anybody who comes to the Red Smith Sports Awards deserves a special place because it helps the kids. But this was one of the more interesting speakers to come through.
Proving that there's many ways, many different approaches to being a featured speaker at the Red Smith Banquet. And Gene Keady is going to show you one of those ways.
And if you like this, you should check out some of our other throwbacks. There's lots of them all over this YouTube channel, but you can also check out our podcast, which is associated with this. And on that podcast, we give you a clip, but you can also listen to some amazing people in the Northeast Wisconsin area and talk about what they're doing. And we'd love for you to check out that podcast anywhere you get your podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple, or anywhere.
Even YouTube, Tosh. You're right. We talk local, 100% local, Northeastern Wisconsin. But the Red Smith Banquet, yeah, we bring in more national names that way.
Absolutely. So check this out. Enjoy it. Check out some of our other ones. You may want to check out fellow 2009 Mark Johnson. This one comes out right around the time of the 45th anniversary of Miracle on Ice. He was fantastic as well.
Mark tells jokes as well, but he doesn't read them.
He does. It's true.
Enjoy, folks.
Please welcome Dick Bennett.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. There are a lot of friends out there.
Thank you so very much. Those records aren't very impressive, and still you're kind enough to appreciate it. I really liked my time in Madison, and I liked my time when I coached high school ball for 11 years around the state. I liked my time in central Wisconsin, but everyone knows I love the Fox Valley. This was the place, starting in Green Bay all the way down. First, let me congratulate the award winners. Doug, it's a pleasure to hear what you've done, and it's good for all of those Brewer fans. Mark, my son made a special call today to say, you make sure those people know what Mark Johnson is. Well, I don't think I have to. I think they've learned that. And he said, tell Coach Keady alone. He said, you know, I really would have loved to have played for Coach Keady after the Pan Am games. I don't know what that says for me, but yeah. Well, President Mark Murphy already endeared you to this population, Gene, because he said you were drafted in football, and we like our sports here, but we love our football players, and so you are endeared. But if you need any further boost, this man has raised thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for charity, cystic fibrosis, cancer, Coaches vs. Cancer. He is a stalwart in and among the coaches for raising money for those who need it, and he continues to do that. If you need to be impressed by by a man who cares about academics in the high pressure of major college basketball, consider the fact that 90% of the kids who came into Purdue in his 25 years there, 90% graduated. Now, until you've been at that level and know what those kids really want, you might not appreciate that statistic, but it is amazing. But the reason he's here is not because he raised a lot of money for charity or because he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers or because he has a tremendous academic reputation in getting his kids graduated. He's here because he's a great basketball coach. He's in the Hall of Fame in Kansas, both as a player and a coach. He's in the Hall of Fame in Indiana. He's going to be in the National Hall of Fame any day now. That's impressive. But what impresses me is over 500 wins in his 25 years in the Big Ten. 22 of 25 years, his teams made the postseason tournament. 7 times Big Ten Coach of the Year. That's 7 more than I had. 6 Big Ten championships. 6 National Coach of the Year awards. That's 6 more than I had. Shoot, my son has coached 2 years and he's got 1 more than I had. He was the Pan Am head coach, where my son Tony was fortunate enough to have played for him. He was the assistant on our 2000 Olympic team, which won the gold, of course. He's a family man. His wife, Pat, is one of the most gracious human beings you would ever want to meet. I wish she were here. They had 3 children. I can always remember looking over the bench and seeing Pat behind Gene. You know, when I went out to Washington State, I asked my wife, Ann, to sit behind our bench. She said, no. I said, why? Do I make a fool of myself? Or is it because we usually lose? She said, both. I would like to end my introduction by asking you to give a warm Fox Valley reputation to one of the greatest competitors in the history of the NCAA, Gene Keady.
Thank you. That's a tough way to start. Oh, yeah, now you clap. Last time I was up in this area, you booed me. Thank you. Now I feel at home. Well, what a significant day in the history of our country today. It's unbelievable what happened in Washington today. And then to come see this is unbelievable. I had no idea this banquet was this huge. I want to thank Mike Reese for inviting me. And, you know, it's one of the Red Smith. I read through that deal about Red Smith coached and where he played. It's unbelievable where he coached. And sometimes he played pro and coached on the same day. So it's amazing. I thought I was versatile, but he was unbelievable. So this is such a great honor to be here. You know, Mark is really an American hero, and I'm a great baseball fan. So it's one of those things we're rolling. I can hear you tell stories. I wish we could just sit here and listen to you tell stories all night. So I'm a sports nut, and I can see from you all you're sports nuts, and I really respect that. And this is an amazing scenario you have here to help the youth of your community. When I was a youngster, we had a recreation program in Larned, Kansas, and when I was an 8th grader, the seniors, or really the varsity, won the state title that year. So, you know, in those days we didn't have TV, so our heroes were high school players, not the pros, because we never got to see them. Maybe the Globetrotters once in a while if they'd come through town, but we got to see only the seniors in high school. They won the state, so naturally they were our heroes. And one of those seniors on that team taught in the recreation program that summer. His name was Bill Hunsinger. He made all-state at forward. Larned won the state. And then I, you know, was kind of always looking up, walking around behind him, and my mouth open in awe because of what he had done, because I was really a sports nut. in all sports. And I asked him one time if he thought I could get a college scholarship, and he said, well, heck yeah, anybody can if you study hard. You think I'm good enough to play sports at another level? He said, sure, if you want to work at it hard enough. So because of his influence, and my point is, you never know where your influence starts or stops for young people. And because of his influence, I had a very happy 48-year career in coaching, experienced so many great moments in sports and all sports. You play football, and I went for 75 yards in Wyoming once when I was at Kansas State and damn near died of a heart attack because of the altitude. You ever run a quarter mile or 400 meters they call it now? You haven't lived till you run a quarter mile. That's a gut check thing. I hit a half-court shot one time against a rival in high school to win a basketball game. Got to score 13 field goals in a national basketball tournament once. Just so many things that I've been involved in because of sports and because of that young man's influence, where he encouraged me to study hard and to work hard and to listen to authorities and have a great respect for people that's in the coaching positions. And because of him, I was able to have one of the things that I wished all you could have cherished like I have over the years, got to meet people like Dick Bennett. Dick Bennett is in, what's that, Barkley call that, the Fab Five in your cell phone, right? Dick's in there for me. He's one of the best 5 coaches in the nation. Was one of my heroes. He's a good guy in the game. Son Tony, a great player. I almost fired Bruce Weber when he was my assistant one time because I let him take over the scheduling one year, and we had at Purdue what we called the Cupcake Classic, and we'd invite 3 teams in, and we'd beat 2 of them and move on. And one day he said, well, I'm from Milwaukee. Bruce was from Milwaukee. I'm going to invite this coach from the state of Wisconsin to bring his team in here. And I said, who is it? He said, well, Green Bay, Dick Bennett. And he said, oh, by the way, his son's a pretty good player in the team. Well, they came in and won the tournament, and I damn near fired Bruce because of that. I did want to say this. What Chuck did here this evening was not easy. He deserves a great round of applause because he read a lot of stuff off. And Chuck, you deserve a great round of applause. Thank you, and thank you for all the attention you give young people because of your work and because of the money you raise through this great banquet. I can tell you that it's amazing what you've got here. This community should be very proud of itself because this doesn't happen in very many places where you get all together and you're honoring hockey people and baseball people and football people, and they all get to talk and have you try to raise money for them. That's great. So it's been amazing what you've done here. This is great. I love this because I was involved in all 4 sports when I grew up as a kid and was very fortunate to have great coaches. So I just want to thank you and try to give you some ideas here. It's been a pretty long evening, so I want to keep you here and bore you here, but it's been fun to listen to all this and meet a lot of new people. And I want to introduce a gentleman in the crowd that was our equipment manager at Purdue, Terry Slaughter. Where are you? Terry? See here? Stand up. He's the equipment manager at Wisconsin now. Give him a big hello. I put up with him for about 10 years, so I'm glad you got him now. No. And then Bob Hallis, you just hired, right, for the field manager at Brewers, right?
Bob, yeah, right.
He came from Purdue, too, so I'm proud of him, and it's one of those things where the world is very small. So I've tried to see and listen and learn from everyone. Dick Bennett was one of those people I learned from as far as a defensive coach, how to treat people right, and Tony was such a great player for us in the Pan Am games. When you coach USA stuff, you see a lot of countries and you see a lot of different players, and a lot of them are jerks. But not Tony. So I get nominated to go coach the Pan Am team in Cuba. Thanks a lot. At the time, I thought it was an honor. They flew us over there in a DC-3. They did. I'm not kidding you. So the first game's against Cuba, and there's Castro up in the crowd, and I was afraid he was going to shoot one of us, so luckily we won that game. So then we beat Argentina, and then we won another game, and then Jimmy Jackson, our leading scorer, was averaging about 26 points a game, broke his foot, had a stress fracture, so the doctors at Ohio State wouldn't let him play anymore, and I think they did it so I wouldn't win. But anyway, Jimmy couldn't play anymore, and so Puerto Rico beat us in the semifinals. We didn't have Jimmy, and then we beat Cuba for third place, which I thought was a pretty good feat to beat Cuba twice on their own court in 1 week. So that was interesting. But Tony came to my room afterwards and wanted to know if I was okay. I've coached 48 years, never had a player that came and worried about his coach. Tony did that. So I'd like to give Tony a round of applause just for the fact I think he's a great guy. We had such a great day today in America, and you know, when I retired, my wife really didn't want me around the house. So she's the greatest wife in the world, but I'm a pain in the butt half the time. Tell jokes that get me in trouble half the time. Because one of those jokes would go something like this. Here's a wife and a man in the bedroom sitting on their bed, looking direct in the mirror, and she's half naked, got a robe around her, and she said, "Oh, honey, I'm getting old, I'm getting ugly, I'm getting fat. I really need a compliment." And he says, "Well, I can tell you one thing, your eyesight's damn near perfect." So you now know why I'm always in trouble at home. So when I retired, I'm sitting around the house a lot, not doing much. My wife said, "Well, you don't do anything anymore. What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Wait a minute. You got a pool man, you got a flower man, you got a bookkeeper, you got a housekeeper, you got somebody that does all the work. Or what the heck do you want me to do?" So she got to thinking about it, and that's probably right. So she got those people all together and collected some money from them, and they bought me a computer. And it was the greatest thing in the world because I can get the best jokes off of that computer. Judd Heathcote, he moved to Spokane, so I lost my joke maker. He moved out of here. So, you know, Judd and Dick are last of the two good guys in coaching because I really respect what Dick does as far as how he treated people, how he competed, how he taught young men the proper fundamentals. And that's what this is all about. This is what your banquet's all about, to try to give young people a chance to experience things in sports where you learn about sportsmanship. You learn about how to take coaching, listening to people, letting coach and an individual work things out. My last 2 or 3 years at Purdue, I started calling the parents helicopters because they're always hovering over their children. The child and the coach have to work it out, and that's what Dick always let players do. That you have to work out those problems, and most coaches are going to try to do the right thing for young people. So he was just one of those special people in my life that I've always respected and have always been a fan of his, and he beat us to go at the Final Four, and I should hate him, but I don't. I love him because of the way he did things right in basketball, and I'd like to give Dick Bennett a round of applause and recognize him. Thank you, Dick. So I go into my computer the other day and find this. I thought about, well, hey, the 20th is the same day as inauguration, so I thought this works pretty slick. I said, here's a bunch of stuff in there about America. And I thought maybe you'd enjoy this because I did. Only in America can a pizza get to your house faster than an ambulance. Only in America are there handicapped parking places in front of a skating rink. Only in America do drugstores make the sick walk all the way to the back of the store to get their prescriptions while healthy people can buy cigarettes at the front. Only in America do people order double cheeseburgers, large fries, and a Diet Coke. And only in America do banks leave both doors to the vault open and then chain the pins to the counters. And only in America do we use answering machines to screen calls and then have call waiting so we won't miss a call from someone we didn't want to talk to in the first place. And only in America do we buy hot dogs in packages of 10 and buns in packages of 8. I don't figure that one out because now I am shopping a lot for groceries, and I'm telling you what, it's hard work. I don't see how housewives do it. Raise children, go shopping, have a job. You're unbelievable. The women in this America are underpaid, I can tell you that. Only in America do we use the word politics to describe the process so well. Poly in Latin meaning many, and ticks meaning blood-sucking creatures. And only in America do they have drive-up ATM machines with Braille lettering. And the best one of all, only in America do we have the Big Ten with 11 teams. So you know Red Skelton's from Indiana. Did y'all know that? Remember Red Skelton? I know some of you are not that young, so don't give me that baloney. But anyway, he was from Terre Haute, wasn't he? Anybody know? Red Skelton, Terre Haute, I think. So I always liked to, listen to him on the radio when I was a kid because we didn't have TV, and he was funny to watch him on TV once he got on there. So he had kind of a formula for the perfect marriage. 2 times a week, we go to a nice restaurant, have a little beverage, good food and companionship. She goes on Tuesdays and I go on Fridays. Perfect marriage. I've had a lot of friends who are hard of hearing. That's why they stayed married 50 years, I can tell you that. Then Red said, we also sleep in separate beds. Hers is in California and mine's in Texas. So anyway, he was one of my favorites. Oh yeah, there's a couple others here I like. I married Miss Wright. I just didn't know her first name was always. Because I can tell you this much. 2 people in America I know that's right about everything. They are right about everything. Is Judd Heathcote and my wife. I can tell you that because they're always right. The last fight was my fault, though. My wife asked, what's on the TV? And I said, dust. And that's trouble, brother. I can tell you that. I was become a really avid golfer, and I played golf with Dave Alexander. He's a Mariner scout, and we asked him, what the hell are you doing playing golf? You need to get players, brother, so what are you doing here? But anyway, Dave Alexander's a good friend of mine, was a baseball coach at Purdue, and is a first-class person, and I really enjoy being around him. So we become avid golfers, and like Dick said a while ago, I could play 8 days a week if you had 8 days in it if we could, because I really enjoy playing golf. But there's some things about golf I've always wondered about, and I wanted to tell you about it because you know me, I don't have a temper. So I want to give you some lightning might hit us. Here's a rule for buying a putter. Don't buy a putter until you had a chance to throw it. I don't do that anymore. It's too expensive breaking clubs. Why is it you can hit a 2-acre fairway 10% of the time and a 2-inch branch 90% of the time? When you look up causing an awful shot, you always look down. Again, exactly the moment when you ought to start watching the ball if you ever want to see it again. So, keep your head down in golf. That's a bad one because I don't do it. So anyway, those are some of the things that I got off my computer, and been fun getting some jokes and having look and see what it really takes to send message. I can't send yet. I'm working on that. But all I do is receive. It's like when I was with the Steelers. But you know what? When I was the Steelers, it was a great experience because the Rooney family are great people. And I was a pass receiver, so it was like the 4 quarterbacks were Lynn Dawson, Jackie Kemp, and Earl Morrall, and Bobby Lane. Of course, I never saw Bobby Lane because he didn't practice. But those were the 4 quarterbacks, and the Rooney family were just great. So I really did enjoy my tenure with with the Steelers, but my knee wouldn't get healed like I wanted it, and I came home, and Buddy Parker said, go home, get it healed, come back, and maybe we'll make a defensive back out of you. He said, are you kidding me? I'd rather be a pass receiver. But anyway, it was a great experience. I learned a lot from it and went home and had my degree, so I got a job coaching basketball in Kansas. It was late August, and a lot of people say, well, why didn't you stay in football? Well, I tried to get some football jobs, but nobody would hire me, so then I got my master's, and Tex Winter was the coach at K-State then, and he was writing his book about the triple post, so I got to be around him 3 years in a row as far as how to teach fundamentals properly. So because of people like Dick Bennett, Tex Winter, Eddie Sutton, Bud Presley, a coach out in California, and Boyd Grant, another coach in Fresno State, I learned how to coach the game right, got to be around Larry Brown some in the Olympic situation. So I really have been very lucky to be around people and surround myself with good assistants, like Bruce Weber now at Illinois and Kevin Stallings at Vanderbilt. And then Matt Painter now has worked out like we thought he would. So, it's been fun to see your assistants. I miss that part of the game, teaching and coaching, but I don't miss the other stuff, the recruiting and having to worry about whether a kid goes to. I had 92, like Dick said, I had 92 kids get to be seniors. Now, you got to underline that part because a lot of them I kicked off, but 92 of them got to be seniors, and 90% of them got there. I wanted to get that cleared up for Dick's sake, that I got 90% of them to graduate, but why would you have to worry about, you get an $8,000 scholarship if you're in state or $16,000 scholarship if you're out of state and you don't go to class. I never could understand that. So things have changed a lot. When I was in college, of course, a lot of our coaches were the professors of our classes, like kinesiology and other classes, theory classes. So the coaches were always around us, and I thought that was a better way to do it. But now, it's one of those things where they put pressure on you to graduate everyone, and if you don't go at the Final Four in 4 years, you're out of here. So it's a different world. I was very lucky to coach in high school when I did, very lucky to coach in junior college when I did, and very lucky to be around people that taught me how to do things right. And I was very lucky to have a dad that understood what discipline was all about, because I think right now the 3 things that parents don't teach their children is to listen. Number 1, listen, be responsible, and think for themselves. And if we could get our parents to get their children to listen to what you're saying and be responsible. And I think being responsible for, doing chores or whatever you do around the house now. I had a camp one time where girls were in it, and I gave that sermon. I said, what do y'all do for punishment if you don't do your chores? This one little girl raised her hand and says, my mom took my cell phone away from me. I said, that's not punishment. So it's a different world now. You have to adjust to it. I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing now. I'm the authority on TV. I know it all. I'm just like you guys used to be, and still are. So it's it's fun to be part of basketball. Yet it's fun to be involved in making some kind of statement towards, say, whipping the dreaded disease of cystic fibrosis. We've raised a lot of money, like Dick said, in that, and I've been a small part of the cancer part, not too much, but. My wife in 2006 had a heart attack, and I was coaching in Toronto then, and came home, and she had a heart attack after I got home for 2 days later. So she had 5 bypass surgery. So we're down, in Indianapolis at the Heart Center for like 4 weeks, and then you have to get through the breathing part to get her off the respirator, and we knew she had a growth in her colon, so they removed that. It had cancer in it, so you go through all that. And then you had to rehab, so she had to learn to walk and talk and eat all over again. And my point is, if you don't have great health, if you don't have good health, you don't have anything. I don't care how rich you are, how smart a coach you are, or what your business is doing. If you don't have health, it's just not worth it. That's why we all need to really take good care of ourselves and exercise properly and eat properly and do all those things it takes. Get a physical every year. So it's one of those things where, I hope I was really, encouraged with the doctor's care, because we were in a heart center for a month. We were over in a colon center for a month, and we were over in a rehab hospital for a month. So we were down in Indianapolis for 12 weeks. So it's like, and since I would have had to quit coaching if I'd have been coaching then, and she got ill, because he was more important than anything in my life. So it's like you learn about life through these type of experiences, because nobody in our family had ever been ill anytime, even have the flu barely once every 3 years or something. So we were very lucky up to that time. So it's one of those things where you watch other people and you learn how. I can tell you one thing you learn a lot better job of doing is praying and looking to the heavens, because it's one of the things that carries us through our everyday being, is having faith and doing those things that carries us through the spiritual part of the world. So anyway, as you get into working your job and you're trying to find out the secrets to winning, and there's really not any. It's hard work. It's getting the right people around you. It's getting, where you're making good decisions about the people you hire as an assistant, about good decisions about raising money for building a new facility. I was always asked by Pat about what we could do back when we used to beat Wisconsin. That was a long time ago. What can we do here, Coach? Because we'd talk together at the Big Ten meetings someplace in the spring to get Wisconsin's basketball better. I said, well, we got to build a new field house and get better coaches. What a dumbass I was. So me and my big mouth, So they did it, and they've been great. I tell you, Dick got it started. He was tremendous there. And now Bo has just been fantastic. So, it's amazing how when a program gets going on the right track, how important it is to get everybody behind you, because it's very, very difficult to win in the Kohl Center. But anyway, as you go through your coaching career, you try to pinpoint what were some of the things that kind of got you where you got to. And I found out there's 3 principles that winners always follow. And principle 1 is easy and hard, happy and sad, all having one thing in common. What are they? Or what is it? Point of view. You can be happy if you want to, you can be sad if you want to. You can be, you can think something's hard or you can think something's easy. It just depends on your point of view. So if I think something will be hard, I just assured myself of suffering, misery, and pain. I'm also going to complicate the challenge, since I've told myself how tough my task will be. On the other hand, if I approach my challenge as an opportunity to learn, develop my abilities, and to focus on doing the best, the experience will become my partner, not the dreaded enemy. And that's one of the great things about being Irish. I don't look at all that crap. Because I think I can beat you anywhere, any place, I know it's not going to happen, but I think I can. So, So anyway, principle 1 is point of view. Principle 2 is never try to be better than anyone else, but always strive to be your best. And there's a difference there. You want to be better than someone else, but no, that's not what it takes to be a winner. You want to try to be your best and get the most out of your talent, because I've seen so many guys, so many young people, so many college players have great, great talent, and they didn't do their best because they thought they were something they weren't. They weren't as good as they thought they were. They didn't work as hard. They didn't work in off season. They didn't run as hard as they should have in preseason conditioning. So it was one of those things where you can't control if someone is smarter than you, or more athletic, or wealthier, more beautiful, but you can control doing your best. That's the one thing you can control, is trying to do your best at whatever you're trying to do. If you want to be a major league hitter, that's a little different story now, because that's a unique talent. It's hard to hit a baseball going 90 to 105 mile an hour and do it consistently. So it's one of those things where, and that was unbelievable what the Brewers did last year. Didn't have a hitter over 300, and then it didn't have a relief pitcher, because I'm a great baseball fan. I watch every Cubs game, every White Sox game, every Brewers game since that I can get, since Bob Hallis went there. I used to be a Yankees fan because when I grew up in Kansas, the Kansas City Blues were a Yankee farm club, right? Yes. And that's where Mantle went through and Maris and all those people. So that's how I got to be a Yankee fan, because I followed them. Then when they fired Joe Torre, I was done. Now I'm back in your yard now. So I'm yelling for Bob Hallis and the Cubbies. So they got to get a World Series ring one of these days, don't they? It's unbelievable. Well, I went off on the wrong edge there. Sorry about that. I didn't fly a jet and think ahead on that one, did I? On defense, we always say fly a jet, think ahead, anticipate. So I'm sorry about that. I apologize. I should have known better. But anyway, and then it's one of those things where you're always watching. I was always a big stat guy in basketball, probably too much so, and I think I got that from baseball, because I played baseball until I was about 30. So it's a great game. I love it. And in Kansas and all those 4,000 population type towns are all about 30 miles apart. Everybody has a town team, so that's why I got to play baseball till I was 30, not because I was worth a damn, because they needed me, so we had enough people. But anyway, principle 3 is avoid roadkill. How did that get here? That's an Irishman for you. Lessons from principle 3. Sometimes we have a tendency to engage the practice of roadkill. That is, holding on to something that drags us down, drains our energy, and keeps us prisoners of the past. Why do we continue to run the possum over when we know the critter will not be resurrected? Matter of fact, such behavior only disfigures the creature more. There is wisdom in knowing when to move on. When we find ourselves stuck in the problem with no forward vision, then roadkill has struck again. So, you know, it's one of those things, why do we keep doing the same thing over and over and over if we're not winning? Or if we're not getting better, if we're not getting stronger? You got to do something to change that. So that's why major league managers get fired, right? Because they didn't change some things or get things done in the fashion that needed to be done to win. So it's not about, you know, doing your best there. I can tell you that. It's about you have to win. It's not very complicated. So if you win, they'll keep you around for 28 years, like they did me at Purdue. I had them faked out, I can tell you that. So, but anyway, a lot of people have asked me what's the importance of sports. There's a lot of great things about sports. As I told you, it saved my life. It kept me off the streets. Gave me goals. It made me formulate goals to make me work harder. Gave me faith or a future, because we were a very poor family. My dad was a florist and started working for this German gentleman when he was 15. Sent his brother to college and worked for this same gentleman until he was 65. He worked 50 years for the same guy. And when the gentleman died, he gave the greenhouse to Dad and Mom. So it's like Mom was the heart of the family, did all the work of head work, and Dad was the person that really got it done on the end of the hoe, you might say, because he really did the things that took to keep us, the kids, that encouraged and gave us positive leadership. And I knew one thing, that if I ever talked back to him. You ever watch the movie or the TV show Principal's Office? Any of you watch that? Holy crap. If I talk back to one of my teachers or a principal or my dad like that, I'd be in the next county. So, you know, and I was born at the right time. I had the right parents. I had the right coaches. I had the right time in my life, because I can tell you right now, I could not coach high school. Right now, I'd kill somebody. So it's like, because the first time you talk back to me, because I can tell you right now, when I coached, it was not a democracy, it was a dictatorship. I can tell you that. So we're going to do it this way, and if you didn't like it, we'll be seeing you down the road. So, and you know, I had captains, so they sometimes would interfere, and I listened to them. So anyway, I listened to them, like Conzo Martin and people like that I knew that I respected. So it was not easy to grow up as a poor child, but it was made easier because I had someone like you that would have money to help young people get an opportunity in whatever sport they were interested in. This is a tremendous, tremendous thing you do here in this banquet, and with this banquet, and with the people in the community, and how much you support all the people around you is just amazing. I'm just so impressed with what you've done here that I'm amazed more people don't do it in the states around you. So we have had, you know, a great time here today. I've had a lot of encouragement from, like Dick Bennett always encouraged me. I hope I encouraged him. I can remember another time I was dumb. He was coaching at Green Bay, and we happened to luck out and beat him in the NCAA down in Austin. Because really, if they call a charging foul on us instead of a blocking foul in Green Bay, we get beat, they win. And after the game, I was trying to console Dick and say, hey, I think you ought to take that Wisconsin job there. I go, once again, a dum-dum. So, you know. So I encouraged Dick to go to Wisconsin, and it was a great move, I thought, because he really added to our league, and he was someone special to me, and has always been. I've always had a lot of people ask me at clinics, and I can tell you I want to say one thing about clinics. I always enjoyed coming to Wisconsin to give a basketball clinic, because your high school coaches in this state paid better attention and acted like they wanted to win and learn something more than any state in the union, because they acted like they really cared about learning. And I always appreciated that up here. you have a great educational system here as far as your coaches listening to coaches to come in and try to teach them, because I always appreciated that. But when I'd go give a clinic, coaches would always ask me, how come your teams play so hard? And I thought, I come home in Seattle one night, I started writing down stuff. I thought that maybe why our teams played hard. I'd mentioned one of them already where I thought one-on-one, we met a lot with the players to tell them what their role was, or ask them to do this. You're going to be maybe a defensive specialist. You're going to have to be the guy that has great post defense, or you got to be the guy that comes off the bench to be the best sixth man in the league, or whatever. Of course, they all wanted to be the shooters, but that's okay. And I tried to really communicate with them that way, one-on-one, and have special meetings about how they're coming academically, how you're doing your role on the team, and how you're doing with your family at home, because that sometimes can be a real burden to them if they got stuff on their mind that's not letting them focus correctly. So it was always important to me to be able to meet with the players one-on-one, and I thought that was fun. And then I was always honest with them. I told them like it was. My dad taught me that if you don't lie, you don't have to remember what you said. So, and I always try to keep that rule with my players. I never told them stuff that wasn't going to be true. I didn't tell them they were going to start and recruited them. I didn't tell them they're going to play a lot. I told them they're going to get an opportunity to play in the best league in the nation, to go to one of the best universities in the nation as far as tradition, and they're going to have a chance to get better and get a great education and move on in their lives and be happy with their families as they got to a higher level. So I always try to be very honest, and I thought they could trust me. And then I think that to motivate people, you have to make them understand that if you're honest and if you're enthusiastic, you probably can motivate people. Those two things I think are so important in motivation. Be honest and have enthusiasm for your job. And I hope that helped lead some of our players into playing harder. And then be demanding. We were always very demanding. 3-hour practices aren't a lot of fun. Running the hills aren't a lot of fun. Getting down in a stance for 5 minutes at a time is not a lot of fun, and slide across the floor 5 to 10 to 15 minutes is not a lot of fun. Running hard every day is not a lot of fun, but winning is. And when you learn that if you do all these things, you're going to eventually win, then there's where your fun comes in. They talked about that this evening already. About a couple of speakers talked about having fun, and that's why 13-year-olds quit playing sports, because they're not having fun. Too many young coaches or younger, maybe I'm wrong about this, take the game so serious, like their job's on the line, and they don't give the kids a chance to have fun in youth groups. So I'd like to see us teach them how to have more fun and enthusiasm, and teach them the right way to play, but having fun as they're doing it. And then the last thing is to be positive. I think to be reinforcing the children to be positive and have an understanding of if you're doing things right and you encourage them, the glass is always half full with me. So it's like being positive is so important. And I know you knew I was really positive from watching my face on TV, right? You thought I was the most negative guy you ever seen. So anyway, those are some of the things that I tried to work hard at and trying to get the people motivated. It's not easy, but it can be fun. And I really enjoyed teaching and coaching working with people and meeting people like Dick Bennett. And when you have a hockey team that we're still talking about so many years later, they have to be our American heroes. And I respect that, respect what they did. And it was fun to watch those years because I was pretty young then. How long ago was that? 29 years ago. So we're still talking about, Mark, you're an American hero. But anyway, it's one of those things where it's part of America's tradition. We have an opportunity now to start a new year in whatever sport you're in, have a chance, a new opportunity for the Green Bay Packers to get better, for the Green Bay's basketball team, the Phoenix to get better. It's a new opportunity to keep going, working at whatever we're trying to do. The Wisconsin Badgers to get up. It's just been one of those things where you have to put your heart and soul in it, and have faith in God, and have a good attitude towards life, and it'll be just fine. And I can tell you right now, you've got a great, great situation here. Don't screw this up by changing anything, because this is beautiful. I can tell you, this is great. Thank you, Mike, for having me. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Please subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell so you get notified when we post another great episode or interview. Download the podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for your support.
Gene, that was nice.